Good afternoon and welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the Johns Hopkins School of Education virtual information session. This afternoon's session will focus on program and admissions information for our Postmaster's Certificate in Applied Behavior Analysis. We are excited to share with you some of the exciting opportunities that this dynamic program has to offer. My name is Liz Woodward, and I serve as the Director of Admissions here at the School of Education. I'm joined this afternoon by our Faculty Director for the Applied Behavior Analysis Program, Dr. Tamara Marder, two of our alums and practitioners in the field of Applied Behavior Analysis, Leslie Coleman and Jackie Devon, as well as my colleague in admissions, Tanya McMillan, who works closely with our postmasters applicants. You'll be hearing from these presenters shortly. Before we get started, I would like to cover a few logistical items for today's presentation. First, today's webinar is being recorded. The admissions office will make the recorded presentation available on our website after the event, should you wish to review it again, or maybe even to share it with a friend or colleague who also may be interested in our Applied Behavior Analysis program. At the conclusion of today's event, we will invite you to ask questions of our presenters and of our admissions representatives using the chat function below. Together with my colleague Tanya, we will read and answer your questions aloud with the help of our presenters. Here is a quick view of today's agenda and the information we'll be covering. To start us off, I'm going to share a brief overview of the Johns Hopkins School of Education. I will then turn the presentation over to Dr. Marder and our alumni speakers. And toward the end of the session, I will come back to cover some important next steps about the application process, tuition, financial aid, and scholarships. We will then conclude with the question and answer period. Johns Hopkins University as a whole enrolls more than 24,000 full-time and part-time students across 9 academic divisions and 3 campuses. Our flagship campus is the Homewood campus located in Baltimore City, Maryland, as well as classroom sites across the Baltimore and DC region. Established in 2007, the Johns Hopkins School of Education is the youngest of the 9 divisions and has quickly taken its place as a national leader in educational reform and innovation. Grounded in the Johns Hopkins tradition of research and evidence-based practice, the School of Education consistently ranks among the top graduate schools in the nation by US News and World Report. Over the last 13 years, the school has grown its mission to train teachers, school leaders, counselors, and practitioners to meet contemporary challenges of teaching, learning, and learning. Today, the school has 127 full-time faculty, over 2,400 enrolled students across 30-plus degree programs spanning from initial teacher preparation, counseling, interdisciplinary studies, advanced studies, and doctoral programs, as well as our autism and applied behavior analysis programs that we'll be discussing today. The purpose of today's event is really twofold. First, to give our audience an overview of our curriculum, practicum and internships, and the admissions process. Second is to connect you with our faculty and alumni who can share with you firsthand testimony of what their learning experience in the program was like, as well as current research, trends, and how they are applying what they've learned in the field in their current professions. This session is a chance for you to engage and ask questions. We hope that you find today's session useful and look forward to receiving an completed application from you for our next term start, which is fall 2021. If you are interested in starting next fall, we strongly encourage you to start the application process as soon as possible. And the admissions office and Dr. Marder, we are both here to help assist you in navigating that process. I would now like to introduce our first presenter, Dr. Tamara Marder. Dr. Marder serves as faculty lead for our autism and applied behavior analysis programs. Dr. Marder serves as an associate professor for the Applied Behavior Analysis, Autism, and Severe Disabilities programs, a licensed psychologist and a board-certified analyst, BCBAD. She has worked in the field of applied behavior analysis for 27 years and has extensive experience working with children with developmental disabilities and families in a variety of settings, including schools, homes, and hospitals. Her research interests include improving learning outcomes for students with developmental disabilities and autism through effective training and preparation of educators and professionals who provide educational services. In 2015, Dr. Marder received the Excellence in Teaching Award from Johns Hopkins University Alumni Association. And just last month, Dr. Marder was named president-elect of the Maryland Applied Behavioral Analysis Association. Congratulations, Dr. Marder. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. It's great to be here today and welcome all of you to talking about our ABA program. Most of you are here because you know a little bit about applied behavior analysis already. So the next few slides just give a quick overview and some links for you to check out more information. So what is applied behavior analysis? It is the scientific study of the principles of learning and behavior, and it's the systematic approach for understanding these principles of learning and applying them to what we call socially important behaviors for all individuals. The board certified behavior analyst is a graduate level certification that is offered by the Behavior Analyst Certification Board. And in order to become a board certified behavior analyst, you must complete graduate level certification. We can go on to the next slide. Okay, so what is ABA? Again, practitioners, as a quick overview, practitioners of behavior analysis provide services that include conducting behavioral assessments, analyzing data, making data-based decisions on that data that improves instruction, as well as behavior analytic plans, writing revising those intervention plans, training others to implement plans, as well as overseeing the implementation, and anything that is on the content of the applied behavior analysis task list. So we are now moving into the 5th edition of the task list from the Behavior Analyst Certification Board. There's a link here at the bottom of the slide, but if you go to bacb.com, you can maneuver your way through the website to get access to this 5th edition task list, which pretty much identifies all of the tasks that behavior analysts need to be able to implement and apply. Okay, so let's talk more about our program specifically at Johns Hopkins. Our program is designed specifically for educators, for folks who want to implement applied behavior analysis in a K-12 setting. So it's designed for special educators, general educators. We have school psychologists in our program, coordinators, administrators, school counselors. So really anyone within that educational system. Our program provides all participants, all candidates to learn these evidence-based practices of applied behavior analysis to meet the growing needs of students who do receive special education services. We have, if we look at our coursework, we have 7 courses. So the Postmaster Certificate is made up of 7 courses. So in order to graduate with a Postmaster Certificate in ABA, you must complete those 7 courses, which is 21 credits. We also provide the ability to complete the fieldwork experience that is required to become board certified in behavior analysis. So there are, for the practicum courses, there are actually 4 courses, which is an additional 12 credits. So typically folks can complete the program in 3 years. Students who just elect to do the 7 courses with us can complete the program in 2 years. All of our faculty are also board certified behavior analysts. Our program is verified by the Association for Behavior Analysis International. So this association will verify all programs that offer behavior analytic courses, so that they verify, they review our syllabi and our curriculum to ensure that we are meeting all of the task list items that are identified in the 5th edition task list. So looking at our program format, as I mentioned, students can complete the program in 3 years. So we offer courses during the fall and spring semester, and typically students take 2 courses each semester. All of our courses are offered in the evenings in Columbia. So the majority of our students do work full time, and then they come to class in the evenings about 2 nights per week. I also mentioned before about the practicum courses. If we'll come back to that in a few seconds and a few slides. But the practicum experiences can be, if you elect to take the courses with us, they can be planned according to your current place of employment as long as you are implementing ABA services. So if you think back to that slide a few slides ago where we talk about the services that practitioners of ABA provide, like behavior assessments, implementation of plans, overseeing of plans. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about being able to provide those services of behavior analysis. We also, or you can do it in your place of employment, or if you don't have a place of employment where you're currently that is approved to provide ABA services, then we will look at options. We can work with you to look at options. We have a practicum coordinator who will help us set up options for students who need a placement. Okay, so this is our course sequence. So you can see across 3 years what the courses are. It's pretty prescribed. Each semester, if you come to our program, which we hope that you do, this will be the next 3 years of your life, right? So the fall semester, we start off, we always talk about the fall semesters like going to a new country and learning a new language. We take the Intro to ABA course and the Research Methods course. And this is really the foundation of everything that we do in this program. So students need to complete these 2 fall courses, and these are the foundation for the rest of the courses. The next spring semester, we look at behavioral assessment and challenging behaviors. So we're looking specifically at decreasing excess behaviors here. We know that when we're decreasing behaviors, challenging behaviors, we also need to be teaching new behaviors. But the focus of this semester, of the course in the spring semester of behavior assessment, is really look at behavior reduction. Also, during the spring semester of the first year, students will take the Ethics and Professional Conduct course for behavior analysts. This is a great course that talks about the specific ethics that behavior analysts will need to be responsible for and to be aware of in their field. Then again, there's no courses in the summer. We come back the second year during the fall semester, and we start off with talking about those instructional strategies. So while in the spring semester, the previous year, we really looked at decreasing challenging behavior, and the second year, we're talking about skill acquisition, learning new skills. How do we apply behavior analysis to instructional strategies? Also, students who are electing to do the practicum with us to get their fieldwork experience with us would begin their practicum during the second year fall semester. And then the spring semester of the second year, students will be taking our newest course, which is a supervision and consultation practices in ABA. So as many of you might know already, behavior analysts provide a lot of consultation in school settings. They also supervise many different professionals. So this course will really hone in on how do we now take all these behavior analytics skills we know and how do we apply them to supervision and consultation. And then in the second year, spring semester, students can take the practicum elective for practicum 2. And then following up on the third year, students will be enrolled in their last course with us, which is the applications of ABA in the classroom. And this is really a seminar course where we're looking at all these different opportunities for ABA in education and looking at special cases and special issues that we need to be thinking about as behavior analysts. And then we would move into practicum 3, and then the spring semester of the third year would be practicum 4. Folks who elect not to do the practicum with us, who decide to do it on their own time, they could take during the fall semester, they could take the 2 courses, 604 and 606, and then finish up with 607, completing the second year of the program. Okay, so here are learning outcomes that really go over all the different things that we want our students to be able to do when they graduate from the program. These pretty much align with the courses that I just discussed and reviewed with you. But really, it's being able to understand and apply all these concepts of behavior analysis, using research methods to analyze the data that we collect. We want our students to be able to conduct and complete behavioral assessments, not only to decrease challenging behaviors, but also to increase skills and behaviors that we want to see. We want students to demonstrate. We want our students to be able to practice professionally following the ethics and professional conduct laid out by our Behavior Analyst Certification Board, and be able to implement and manage and practice applied behavior analysis in educational settings. And finally, the ultimate goal is for all of our students to be able to pass the BACB exam. Okay, so let's talk about practicum for a few minutes. Again, our practicum courses are electives. We offer 4 courses that follow the new requirements that will be in place as of 2022. So any students who are interested in becoming certified after January 1st, 2022 need to complete the new requirements for fieldwork experience. So our practicum would allow students to meet the experience requirements for concentrated experience fieldwork, which requires that students complete 1,500 hours of fieldwork experience. The benefit of doing this with us here at Johns Hopkins is that we provide you with the curriculum for the practicum. We follow a very specific curriculum across the 4 practicum courses. We also provide a practicum coordinator who becomes a liaison between you and your supervisor and your placement, and help set up all of the requirements for practicum. Our practicum courses also include a face-to-face seminar with an instructor. So you meet with your instructor and they provide you with group supervision. So you are able to get group supervision with your peers. And then you're also able to get individual supervision. JHU will provide you with a board certified behavior analyst supervisor who will oversee your experience in your practicum placement. So once students complete all 4 semesters of the practicum, they are able to accrue 1,500 hours of the concentrated experience. And within the 15-week semester, so if we look at practicum experience, we sort of have it calculated out to the specific hour, really. So if you look at semesters about 15 weeks, students are able to accrue 25 hours per week. They receive 1.5 hours of that individual supervision with a supervisor and 1 hour per week in class with group supervision, which allows us to meet the 10% of the hours being supervised each month by the Behavior Analyst Certification Board. So being able to do practicum at Johns Hopkins is definitely a benefit because we pretty much provide you with all of the requirements, and we guide you along the way to make sure that you are meeting all of the requirements. Okay, so some additional information about the Behavior Analyst Certification Board. So once you complete all of the 7 courses, this is outside of the practicum courses, you complete the 7 courses with us, then you receive a postmaster certificate in applied behavior analysis from Johns Hopkins School of Education. If you also go on to complete the 4 practicum courses, you then would be eligible to apply to the Behavior Analyst Certification Board to become certified. You'd be eligible for certification. It's important to note that all students are responsible for applying and supplying all the documentation that we help you with to the BACB. We don't apply for you. You must apply on your own. We don't provide that certification in behavior analysis. Only the BACB provides that certification. And it is also expected that all students will pursue certification upon completion of the program. So I gave you guys a lot of information, and I'm sure folks have a lot of questions. I'm actually going to turn things over to alumni of our program. Our first alumnus is Leslie Coleman, who is a behavior specialist in Anne Arundel. So you guys can see her bio in front of you. And our next alumnus is Jackie Devon, who also you will see her bio when it comes up. But Jackie and Leslie recently graduated from the program. Leslie just became a BCBA in this past October. And so they can spend a little time talking to you about their experiences in the program. And then at the end of our presentation, after Jackie presents, I'm gonna share a little bit more information with you. And then at the end of our presentation, you can ask our alumni specific questions about the program. So Leslie, I'm going to turn it over to you, okay?
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Martyr, for the lovely introduction. I guess I wanted to start off by just talking about who I am right now and what I'm doing and what my areas of expertise were and how they've changed becoming a PCBA and going through the program. So I am a special educator. I primarily specialize in early childhood. I always have, working with students with autism. However, since entering the program, I've expanded my area of competency, and I now work as my current title as a behavior specialist, supporting teachers and students in Anne Arundel County public schools, ages kindergarten through 12th grade. So it's very different from what I originally, prior to joining the program, to what I'm doing now. When I started the program, I have to say I felt extremely competent in specializing instruction, differentiating instruction, autism, implementing behavior change programs. I felt like a rock star. And, and since joining the program, or when I entered, it was my first day, I realized, wow, this is very humbling, very, very humbling. I think it surprised me in so many ways. I think I had a lot of misconceptions about what applied behavior analysis is, and that it's not just, it's not just an approach to help little guys with autism, but it's so much more than that. And it's applicable to all aspects of our lives as educators, and it's life-changing. So when we talk about parents who have children or teachers who have students with children, who are exhibiting such maladaptive behaviors that they can't learn, our services and learning how to provide effective services, evidence-based practice is life-changing. And being in the business that changes lives is humbling, and it's also really remarkable. And I think that surprised me the most. The program provides us with not only how to do this. I mean, there's the practicum is so intense, and it provides us with so much experience with the supervision and behavior skills training and all of the research that goes along with it. I could go on forever about what works, but you guys will see soon enough. But I think what surprised me was the history, and how our professors went into such detail about the history of ABA, and really, really teaching us the why and the principles of behavior before the how. And I think that piece is what's so exceptional of Johns Hopkins, and it's such a foundational piece that was really beneficial, I think, for all of us in our cohort. So now I want to just talk briefly about what this program prepared me for in my current role. So one of the things that I was not very inept with before this program and before becoming a BCBA was really looking at data, analyzing data, and using it to effectively create behavior change programs. Going back and analyzing research, that is a huge part of this program, and it's so the breadth of knowledge that gives you, and going back into looking and diving into research and studies and programs and things that other behavior analysts, it's a community of these amazing people, and it's the breadth of knowledge and I'm getting all excited now. But when really the program really taught me how to look at research in a very critical way, and like I said, getting excited about replicating the research with my current students and faculty that I'm working with. The behavior right now, I am currently providing more consultation to teachers in my current role. They call on me for support and resource. And I think that the behavior skills training that I learned in my practicum prepared me dramatically for this role. I feel so confident in how I approach and consult with schools. Lastly, I think that this program also not only prepared me in my career and to pass the BCBA exam on the first try, which was an astounding feeling, but also I use ABA in my personal life constantly as a parent, as a teacher, and for myself in establishing my own goals and learning how to self-monitor and all kinds of things. It's just the ABA is so much more than what I think my perception was in the past before this program. What I loved about this program, and I'm going to end on this note, and then I'll leave it over to Jackie, but the cohort that I was in, I think we had a very special cohort. I think Jackie can attest this as well. The camaraderie and the collaboration and what we learned from each other, because you're in a cohort in this program and you are with them on every step of the way, we became such a family and supported each other through the difficult papers and the difficult concepts. And we became probably lifelong friends, I would say, because we were in this together and learning together and being very excited about behavior analysis together. But the camaraderie was really, really special. And I think that's something that a cohort, this type of model, really provides. And it honestly helped me pass the BCBA exam and do well in this program. And I have a lot of, I have them all to thank. So that is, and of course the professors, but I don't want to take up all of the things that I'm sure Jackie wants to talk about. So I am happy to answer any questions and stay on. I'm sorry if I'm going on, but I could not be more excited about this program and what it's done for me. And it's opened my eyes to so much more than what I originally thought encompassed applied behavior analysis.
Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about Jackie real quick as she gets her sound fixed. It's really, Jackie, it's really like on a slow-mo kind of sound. That's what's coming out, like it's slow motion. So I don't know if it's something with your microphone, but I'll give you a few minutes and I can talk about you, no problem. So Jackie's currently a special education teacher in Baltimore County. She does serve students with autism, and she also, so I'm sure all of you have some knowledge about what it's like to be a special education teacher in an educational setting, serving kids with autism. So she's creating individualized lessons, developing and implementing behavior plans, overseeing all academic programming, really. And then she also trains paraprofessionals and supervises them in their implementation of all of the different instructional plans and behavior intervention plans in the classroom. She's also been really involved in professional development within her county and within her school, and support staff training across the board. So she also serves as a demonstration classroom for novice and experienced teachers. So she's able to, folks are able to come to her classroom and see her classroom as an example of how to run a classroom. So that's pretty awesome. And then just a little background, that Jackie graduated from our program this past summer in 2020. Most of the students last year actually ended up graduating in the summer because of the pandemic. So we had to slow practicum down a little bit, and then we picked it back up. So the majority of the students all of the students were able to graduate in 2020 in the summer. So, and I know that she's studying hard for her BCBA exam.
Okay, so Dr. Martyr, would you like to pick up at advantages of the...
Yeah, sure. So, a lot of times the questions are, why Johns Hopkins? Why should I complete my ABA coursework at Johns Hopkins? One reason is that our focus on ABA is really looking at implementing ABA in a school setting, specifically the K through 12 setting. So meeting the needs of students with autism, severe disabilities, intellectual disabilities, inclusion settings, special education settings, so a full range of different settings and students. We are also the only graduate school of education in Maryland to offer this specialized certificate. I would say another advantage of our program is the practicum. We've really only touched the surface in talking about the practicum. I know Leslie spoke a little bit about it, but the practicum experience, we provide you with a supervisor. We have the course that's associated with it. All of our students finish the program, meet the hours that are required to become eligible to take the exam. But also our practicum experience is really individualized to meet the needs of our students. So if you have a lot of experience implementing discrete trial instruction, but you don't have that much experience supervising other people on the implementation of behavior plans, we help design your practicum experience to meet those needs. Another advantage, which I think is one of the biggest advantages of our program, is that our students pass the exam. So as of this past November, we've had 58 graduates who've taken the exam. 57 have become board certified. So that's really a 98% pass rate. This also includes our first time and second time candidates. So students who maybe not pass it the first time will pass it the second time. And then if we look at the BCBA also reports out for each graduate school program the pass rates for the school. So most of you who are online here probably know that the pass rate for the exam is not very high. So in 2019, it was actually 63%, which is not a high pass rate for students who take the exam the first time around. For us in 2019, our pass rate was 76%. And this year for 2020, the results haven't come out yet. The report hasn't come out yet, but I think we are well above that number. And so that's a big advantage of this program, that we do prepare you not only to practice as a board certified behavior analyst, but also to be able to pass the exam. And then all faculty, finally, all of our faculty are board certified and are practicing behavior analysis every day, which is a great advantage because not only are they teaching at night, but the next morning they're going into their classrooms or their settings and they're practicing behavior analysis as well. So I see Jackie is back. So do we want to flip back to her slide, Liz, and then she can
Here
present?
we go. Yes, Jackie.
Well, let me start again. Hello, everybody. I'm Jackie. Thank you for having me here today. I think I was saying, Leslie, it was really great to hear your voice, and same with you, Dr. Martyr. So Leslie, you did a phenomenal job, really kind of stating again what this program really and how the program really sets us up for success in order to be incredibly prepared for our roles, not just as a behavior analyst, but really just in the current positions that we are in. As Dr. Martyr, I believe, said, I'm a special education teacher in Baltimore County, where I actually teach a regional program primarily with students with autism. And I've done pretty much all grades in an elementary age setting. So I would like to start off, I cannot say enough positive things about the Johns Hopkins program. I think I saw somebody earlier ask in the chat if this was a virtual program or an in-person program. And while I know things look a little bit different right now, as going to this program in person develops character and relationships that I don't think you would get if it was something that you're doing strictly virtually. This program is really top notch and will blow you out of the water. And I would like to say it doesn't even compare to any other program out there, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So I think that in my current position as a special educator, this program really gave me the ability to communicate really the needs of my students and perhaps their behavior or their current level of academic performance to other colleagues, staff members, and even parents. I feel that I'm really, truly able to describe what I'm doing in order to give my students maximum achievement. And really prepares, becoming a behavior analyst will really prepare you to train your staff that you work with. And whether you're, a school psychologist who works in a public school system, or you just working with anybody. As a special educator, we're working with so many people. That it's really important to be able to have the skill set to really train them to benefit the lives of our students. I think Leslie really stated what we've learned, the ability to really collect meaningful data and why that's so important for our students and our children, clients. And Leslie, I liked how you referenced really having and learning about referencing our research and even learning the skill set to really understand research and what that means to this program and to really this job. But what's the most that stands out the most to me about this program, which again I cannot praise enough, but really it's the faculty. The faculty in this program are one of a kind. They really care about us as students. They care about the professionalism of the people in the program, and they really want the success of all of the candidates. I feel like even being finished with the program, I want to say that I feel support again by everybody, Dr. Martyr and anyone that we've worked with, all of the professors. It's just such a great community. And they're truly, truly experts in the field, top notch. And just something that really surprised me that I did not expect going into this program was really the professionalism that you gain during your time in this program. Something I had no idea that I would be growing in, but I would like to say I think that that's something that stands out to me the most, and that I've seen even with my friends in the program. But really, everything in this coursework is meaningful to the principles of ABA, and it's built into the program, and it's neat to see it unfold as you're learning it and looking back on the program and how it's really like built in. So I cannot speak highly enough. I'm so happy to answer any questions, and just like Leslie said, like it really gets you excited about learning and about the program, and I hope that you all choose to do this for yourselves and also for the students that you work with. So thank you very much, and sorry about that little mishap before.
Thank you, Jackie. I'm gonna move forward, Dr. Martyr, to our program milestones and impact, if you would mind picking up there.
Sure. Jackie, thank you so much. I'm glad everything worked out and you were still able to join us. So thank you for sharing. So our program has been around since 2013. And since then, we have graduated 76 students from our program, which is pretty exciting. They do represent a variety of different professionals within education, from special educators to behavior specialists. We have a lot of school psychologists who go through our program. We've had administrators and school counselors, as well as instructional specialists. We also represent 11 different school systems across Maryland, as well as DC, which we're also very excited about. It's been very rewarding as a professor to meet all different types of professionals from all the different school systems in our area. We also have folks who come here from outside of Maryland and either remain in Maryland or go back to other states. We, like I said, we've had 76 students. So we've had 6 cohorts who've completed the program. 57 are board certified in behavior analysis. In the state of Maryland, you can also get licensed as a behavior analyst. So 33 of our graduates who remained in Maryland also became licensed behavior analysts. We do have an additional 9 students who just graduated in 2020, who are preparing to take the exam now. And cohorts 7 and 8 are currently enrolled. 7 is just getting ready to finish up this spring semester. Okay, and so then I think this might be my last slide, but one question I get a lot is from potential applicants is who's an ideal candidate for this program? So I think I can sort of delineate it across these few bullets. One is just really a demonstration, a desire to commit to the field of behavior analysis. So you hear Leslie and Jackie speaking. I think you can probably check that box off for them. Understanding all of the requirements to become board certified, that is outlined by the Behavior Analyst Certification Board. We are here as professors and as a program to guide you along those requirements. But you also have to know what those requirements are and take the initiative to understand those requirements. Another criteria to discuss is being able to commit to 2 to 3 years of intensive graduate coursework. This program is intense, and it does require a lot of hard work and determination to complete the program. demonstrating all of the admission requirements, which I think Liz is going to speak about next. And then finally, really just the willing to work and study hard and take the time to invest in your career and education. All right, I think the next one might be you, Liz, right? Not me.
Yep, I'm back up here. So thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Jackie. Thanks for hanging in there. And thank you, Dr. Martyr, for giving us that program overview experience. So now onto the application requirements. The Postmaster Certificate in Applied Behavior Analysis admits in the fall semester only. And as a minimum, I have listed below the following requirements that are needed to be considered for the program. So a completed application. And what does that consist of? That consists of an earned four-year bachelor's degree and a master's degree with a 3.0 or better cumulative grade point average, actually in both undergraduate and grad. A completed online application form and our application fee. We do require all official transcripts from every college, university, or what we call post-secondary education institutions that you've attended. So that includes if you've taken courses outside your degree or maybe transferred them back to your degree, if you took a summer course, we need all your original transcripts from those institutions. Within our online application form, which is fairly straightforward, it's actually a portal. So when you log in, you start yourself an account and you start your application, and it does ask for you to upload an essay or a personal statement, your resume, CV or CV, 2 letters of recommendation. Now, the way our letters of recommendation work is that once you've selected the academic or professional references that you'll be using, and again, we do require that they, if it's a professional reference, that it is someone that is has the ability to speak about your ability to write, research, and perform graduate level work. You would enter their names and professional email addresses into the online application form, and then it will automatically send them out an invitation to upload a recommendation for you. So we'd like to tell pre-applicants or people that are getting started that it's really a good idea to think very, deliberate on who you would like to ask and kind of prepare them for an invitation from us to submit a letter of recommendation for you, to tell them a little bit about the program that you're applying for and why you're doing that. It's always helpful to have those conversations in advance. And then just lastly, there is no graduate record examination required for admission to this program because it is a post-bac or postmaster's rather level. We do not require it. So that's based in a nutshell what the basic application requirements entail. In terms of deadlines, this program is currently actively accepting applications and will accept applications until we fill the cohort. We do encourage applicants to apply early. There is a cap, and to get earlier you get your application in and you kind of have that piece done. It is you'll get your decisions will be up to our admissions committee to review. But the faster you get your decision, but we always encourage folks to apply well in front of the deadlines or that are posted. Occasionally we have a priority deadline of April 1st. Sometimes we will extend that depending on the space and capacity of the cohort available. For international applicants or internationally educated applicants who happen to now be in the States, we do require some additional requirements. One is an English language proficiency score. So that can either be taken through the International English Language Testing System or IELTS, or the TOEFL score, or if you are a permanent resident or at this point and have been living in this country, you can request a English language waiver form within our application, but you do have to check a box for that at the bottom of our supporting materials section to request that waiver. In addition, we do require of all international or internationally educated students who've earned degrees outside the US or Canada, what we call a course-by-course international credential evaluation. And that's basically does require you to go to a third-party provider. And we do have step-by-step instructions on our website that will lead you through what your options are there. And it does require you to request your original transcripts from your institution outside the US or Canada again, to be evaluated, and then the evaluation results are sent to us, and those become what we call your official transcript. And it really is a benefit for international applicants to do that, because it does a direct translation from your country or the country you earned your degree to the United States semester-based system. So for additional requirements, please visit our admissions website. I should also mention that because this is a part-time program and you're taking 2 courses per semester, if you are not a US citizen or permanent resident and you're seeking to apply for a visa status, this program is not eligible to do that. So we would invite you at the end of the presentation. I've included Tanya's information, and certainly I'm available to answer any questions. We can look at other program options for you. Okay, our tuition rates, and tuition for these rates would cover the 7 courses that Dr. Marder talked about earlier, which are the core part of the program. This is not the practicum. The practicum has a separate tuition and fee structure. But for our face-to-face courses, we're looking at, for this year, $833 per credit, or $2,499 per course. Not online courses, but we are in the period of COVID. So currently classes are online, but we expect them to go face-to-face by fall. We also have a registration and enrollment fee of $175 per semester and a one-time application fee of $80. Financial aid is available for this program. 82% of all of our degree-seeking students in the School of Education do borrow some form of graduate loan through the federal financial aid system. The first step is to complete what we call the free application for federal student aid form. That does need to be completed each academic year that you're enrolled. And then we have, once you're enrolled, a supplemental form to fill out. But the most important thing for applicants or prospective students to consider is that once you've made a decision to apply to this program, and once you get your application in, and I encourage you to do that really first, directly after, while you're waiting for a decision, we strongly encourage you to fill out the FAFSA form. And why is that? One is it doesn't obligate you to anything. You're not borrowing any money at this point, but it does put you in the system and does really kind of eliminate a checklist item. So if you are admitted, we have all your information right away. You can list up to 8 schools that you're applying to in that form. It's just really to put you in the federal aid system to get you started. And so we encourage that at the point or directly after you submit and complete your application. Scholarships. We do have a institutional scholarship. It's a limited scholarship. It's partial, and it's what we call need-based. So it's based on your financial need as kind of estimated or evidenced in your free application for federal student aid. So it does require you to submit the FAFSA. We have the average award can be from $800 to $1,500 a semester, or $1,600 to $3,500 a year. And that is due by April 1st of this year. So you have to have the scholarship in. You do not have to necessarily have an admissions decision to apply for the scholarship. And just like the FAFSA, I encourage you to do that at the point of application. But it is due by April 1st. And the other part I'd like to mention is external scholarship resources. There are a ton of those out on our grants and scholarships webpage, which is located under financial aid if you go to our website. And they have some great scholarships for all different kinds, not just for teachers for the School of Education, although those are 2 listed there, but they have a number of scholarships for people that are looking to study in fields, whether, applied behavior analysis has few scholarships dedicated to specifically, but these external scholarship sources are also, some of them are more open-ended for a lot, they're not very specific to major. And I'd encourage everyone to take a look at that as you think about planning ahead for how you're going to fund your tuition. So now we are at the point of the question and answer period. So please type your questions for our presenters in the chat box below. And Tanya McMillan, who will be joining us, and I will take turns reading those questions, and between our presenters, Tanya and myself, will hopefully provide you the answers that you're looking for. So I'll give you a few seconds to enter anything that you have in the chat. And Tanya, would you like to kick us off with our first question when we're ready?
Sure, thanks, Liz. I'll start with the first question. It's from Monera. She's asking, in terms of practicums, are they also offered in the summer or just in the spring and fall semesters like the courses?
Yes, Monera, thank you. It's good to see you online here at our webinar. So yeah, we only have the practicum courses during the fall and spring semesters, primarily because our if we consider practicum being implemented in a school setting, there's less opportunity to get all of the hours in during the summer semesters. So we stick to only the fall and spring semesters.
Thank you. Ashley has our next question. She's asking, is there any possibility for online courses in the near future?
So our program is designed to be an in-person program. I think Jackie and Leslie were sort of both talking about the benefits of that. I will say that it's it's 2020, right? So anything is possible. We've had a lot of experience teaching our courses online. So I would never say never, but because we really have to look at what the impact that 2020 has had on all of us and our programs, but we have to really consider making sure that our students don't miss out on that face-to-face experience within the program. But there's no plans for fall 2021 to be online unless it is out of our control.
Okay, our next question comes from Manera. Manera asks, for scholarships, are any available to international students? Note, I would be enrolled in a full-time PhD program at the same time and recently checked my eligibility with the Office of International Services. So I take it you're a current student, Manera, who confirmed I would be eligible as long as I have a I-20 for a full-time program. If you have an I-20 for a full-time program, and really honestly, if you're going to be enrolled in a full-time PhD program, I would definitely talk to the PhD program about your ability to have time for outside to pursue a postmaster's program at this point. Not saying it's impossible, but I would just caution you to do that before taking on another commitment. As Dr. Marder kind of alluded to, this program is going to require some intensive, and is structured as such for students to do that. But yes, I mean, technically, to answer your first question, there are not institutional scholarships available through SOE for international applicants. I would encourage you, however, though, to look at the external scholarship page. And then Tanya, you can refresh my memory on the international student search site that some of our students have had success on. And I can pull that up and put it in the chat if you don't have it on hand. But there are two specific scholarship sites for international applicants. So two-part question there. But the second part is I would definitely just, be cautioned about the time commitment in a full-time PhD and a postmaster's program, whether you can do both at the same time. And I don't know, Dr. Marder, do you have any thoughts on that piece?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that that would be really hard. So I would be very careful about that because of the intensity of this program. And I'm sure the academic rigor of any PhD program. But Manera, I know you through the School of Education already, so we could always talk about that over Zoom or in person over the phone. So do reach out and we can talk about that in more detail.
Okay, our next question, this question is for our alumni speakers. So that would be Leslie and Jackie. What do you view as the biggest impact the ABA program has had in your professional practice? You mentioned data, but are there other areas of the coursework that really open new doors for you?
This is Leslie. I think I can take this one. So I think I'm going back to what Jackie was saying earlier about being able to look at things differently. And there's a level of professionalism, I think, when after you complete this program and after you pass the exam too, and my experience, but there's a level of professionalism, I think, that definitely opens all sorts of doors in so many different areas. For me personally, I have a new role now where I'm stuck. I am actually locked in, for lack of a better word, with the county because they helped with my tuition. So, but within the county, where I was a special education teacher and providing direct service with students in early childhood, this program and this degree opened up the door where now I am a behavior specialist, providing consultation to teachers and applying behavior skills training for teachers and modeling other things. I mean, that it really defined my role and it enabled me to change my roles within the county. I look forward to new opportunities in the future. I know that within this field, the opportunities are endless in this field because there's so much you can do with this degree, and you're practicing your area of competency and growing in your area of competency, whether it be providing direct service or, providing consultation to teachers or behavior skills training to adults. That's the piece for me that opened more doors and enabled me to have a different position within the county. So the level of professionalism, 100%, and being more and broadening my area of competency that not only servicing kids birth to 5, but also now I'm able to service the county in a very different way than I was doing before. So I think, does that answer your question for me personally?
I'm gonna jump in behind you, Leslie, and kind of something that's coming to mind for me. That's kind of something that because of the ABA coursework, that's really had the biggest impact on me in my professional role as a special educator is really understanding the why behind a lot of the behaviors that we see, specifically in the public school system. And if anyone out there is already maybe a special educator working in the public school system, you might be familiar with that feeling of maybe frustration or feeling discouraged that you don't really have maybe the skill set, or that there's nobody available to provide services for your students that are really struggling maybe with very maladaptive behaviors. And I think that after even getting started in the coursework, I think the more I developed my skill set and really understanding, identifying like the why and the function of each child's behavior, that actually kind of eliminated a lot of those feelings for me, where I have been able to grow and really stay calm because I really understand and have the knowledge to understand what's happening. And so while I might not be able to implement a procedure that could be put into place outside of a public school system, I do have the skill set to understand and know what I'm able to do within my area of expertise, if that answers the question.
I think it
So
does.
that's helpful.
Yeah, very helpful. Thank you both. It's great. One thing I've witnessed in working with Dr. Martyr and having the chance to meet students is how passionate they are about that, about ABA and what the outcomes that you're able to apply to your working environment. So thank you very much. We are at the 5 o'clock point, and Dr. Martyr had to leave, I believe, to go attend and lecture for courses. So if there are no other questions about the program, I will go to our next slide. And here you'll see Tanya, and you will see Camilla, who is the academic program coordinator who works with current students. Tanya works with our applicants and inquiries. As I mentioned, we are accepting applications for fall 2021. We'll look forward to hearing any additional questions you have. Please contact Tanya at the address listed here. And we look forward to hearing from you, and hopefully you're taking the next steps to apply and join us. So thank you for everyone for attending today's session. Very happy holiday and a happy new year. Thank you. Have a great evening.